Tell somebody next to you, I've got to hit the spot. Oh, come on, say it like you mean it. I've got to hit the spot. Because there comes a moment in life when good enough ain't good enough anymore. There comes a time when almost just won't do. You've been circling, you've been trying, you've been praying, but now you've got to hit that spot. That place where purpose meets preparation. That place where your destiny lines up with your discipline. That place where you stop missing the mark and finally make contact with what God put in you. You see, anybody can swing, but not everybody can connect. And in this season, I don't want to just swing. I want to strike. Because when you hit the spot, doors open, yokes break, and heaven responds, precision unlocks power. Those three words carry more weight than most people realize. In a world where we glorify business and applaud effort, we often confuse activity with achievement. We run, we hustle, we grind, but without precision, all that motion can amount to movement. Without meaning, precision is not just about being exact, it's about being intentional. It's about knowing where to focus your strength so that your strike makes an impact. Because you can swing all day, but until you learn where and how to hit, you'll keep missing what's meant for you. There's something powerful about people who live with precision. They're centered. They're not scattered. They're centered. They don't move out of emotion. They move out of purpose. When you understand precision, you stop wasting energy on what doesn't matter. You stop chasing everything that shines and start investing in what's divine. You learn to conserve your power until it's aimed in the right direction. Because true power is not proven by how much you can do. It's proven by how effectively you can do what you're called to do. Think about it. A boxer doesn't win just because he throws the most punches. He wins because he lands the right one. A sculptor doesn't strike the marble with random blows. Every touch is deliberate. Every motion calculated to bring out the masterpiece hidden inside the stone. The same is true for your life. You can have talent, passion, and drive, but without precision, you'll exhaust yourself hitting everything but the target. And when you don't hit the target, you get tired, discouraged, and sometimes even bitter because you're doing the work but not seeing the results. Precision requires clarity. You cannot be precise about what you're unclear about. When you don't know who you are, you'll aim at everything that looks good and miss what's meant for you. That's why so many people are busy but not blessed, because they've confused movement with momentum. God doesn't anoint confusion. He anoints clarity. When you know who you are and what you're called to do, you stop scattering your strength. You start channeling it. You become focused, and focus turns average effort into extraordinary power. Precision also demands discipline. You can't be precise if you're careless. You can't hit the spot if you don't practice control. Power without discipline is dangerous. That's why athletes train endlessly, not just to get stronger, but to get sharper. They study form, timing, and rhythm because they understand that one well-placed move can change everything. Likewise, your success in life isn't determined by how strong you are. It's determined by how disciplined you are. It's not about having more. It's about doing more with what you have, because precision multiplies power. You see, when your words are precise, they carry weight. When your thoughts are precise, your actions have direction. When your faith is precise, your prayers hit the mark. Too often we throw out random prayers, random plans, random dreams, hoping something will stick. But faith without focus is like shooting arrows into the wind. You might release a lot of effort, but you'll never know where it lands. Precision is the power that turns hope into harvest. In Scripture, David didn't need a sword or armor to defeat Goliath. He used what he knew, a sling and a stone. But the victory didn't come because of the stone. It came because of the aim. He was precise. He knew exactly where to hit. That's the power of precision. And it doesn't always need size. It needs accuracy. Some of you have been praying for more resources, more connections, more opportunities, but what you really need is precision. Because when you know how to use what you already have, you can win battles others think require more. Precision also saves time. You don't have to keep starting over when you know what you're doing. You don't have to rebuild what you keep breaking through carelessness. People who operate with precision make fewer mistakes because they make fewer moves. They think before they act. They listen before they speak. They prepare before they perform. That kind of intentional living might look slow to others, but it's strategic. Precision is not about speed, it's about accuracy. You can run fast and still be running in the wrong direction. Precision unlocks power because it aligns your energy with your purpose. When your heart, mind, and actions are in alignment, nothing can stop you. Misalignment, on the other hand, drains power. That's why some people are tired all the time. It's not they're doing too much, it's that they're doing the wrong things. Precision forces you to prune your priorities. It makes you say no to what doesn't serve your assignment. It demands that you stop scattering seeds on every field and start sowing where you've been called to grow. Sometimes God will take you through seasons of silence, solitude, and shaping, not to punish you, but to sharpen you. He's refining your aim. He's training your spirit to hear His timing. Because if He released you too soon, your swing would be wild, your strike would miss, and your gift would be wasted. So when you feel hidden, don't get frustrated, get focused. You're not being ignored, you're being aimed. When you finally understand the value of precision, you stop comparing yourself to people who are just busy. You stop being impressed by noise. You start craving accuracy over applause. And when you live that way, you discover a peace that comes from knowing you're in alignment with purpose. That's real power, power that doesn't need validation, power that doesn't need visibility, power that comes from knowing your aim is right. Every time you make a move, ask yourself, does this hit the spot? Does it align with what God told me? Does it match my mission? Does it serve my growth or distract from it? Precision isn't about perfection. It's about purpose. It's not about getting everything right. It's about doing the right thing at the right time for the right reason. When you live with that kind of focus, you become unstoppable because precision doesn't just unlock power, it sustains it. It keeps you from burning out, from being pulled apart by everything demanding your attention. It gives your energy a target, your dreams a direction, and your purpose a point of contact. So don't just swing, don't just move, don't just try. Hit the spot, get precise, get focused, get aligned, because when precision meets purpose, heaven backs your every move. And when heaven backs you, no force on earth can block you. Precision unlocks power. And when you master it, every strike counts. Preparation positions you for impact. Those words carry a truth that echoes through every great story of success, every moment of destiny, and every breakthrough that seemed to happen overnight. What most people call sudden is never sudden. It's the result of preparation that's been happening quite quietly in the background, away from the spotlight. Long before the moment of impact arrives, preparation is the difference between being present and being powerful. It's what separates the one who shows up and the one who shows up ready. See, too many people pray for impact but resist preparation. They want the stage but don't want the setup. They want the blessing, but not the building. They want to arrive without having been refined. But impact is not a product of chance. It's a consequence of readiness. God doesn't waste his power on the unprepared. He's not withholding from you. He's preparing you. He's shaping you, strengthening you, and positioning you so that when your moment comes, you don't just appear, you advance. Preparation is what happens when nobody's watching. It's the late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices you make when no one's clapping. It's the discipline of sharpening your gift, the humility of learning, and the faithfulness of showing up even when results don't show up for you. Preparation doesn't always look powerful. It often looks ordinary, but that's where the extraordinary begins. Because when you prepare in private, God can trust you with impact in public. Think about David before he faced Goliath. Everybody remembers the giant falling, but few talk about the years of preparation that came before that moment. David didn't just pick up a sling one day and hit the mark. He had been practicing in the fields, defending sheep, mastering his aim. What looked like a sudden victory was really a prepared strike. Every battle with a lion, every encounter with a bear was training for that one defining moment. When he stepped up to face Goliath, he wasn't improvising, he was operating out of preparation. That's how destiny works. You don't rise to the occasion, you rise to your level of preparation. When life tests you, it doesn't ask what you wish you knew, it pulls out what you've already learned, and that's why preparation matters. You can't fake readiness, you can't borrow it or buy it, you can only build it. And the ones who take the time to prepare are the ones who make an impact that lasts. Preparation positions you because it teaches you alignment. It puts your heart, your habits, and your head in the right place. When you prepare, you're not just learning a skill, you're building structure. You're giving your purpose a foundation to stand on. Too many people want elevation without structure. But if you rise too fast without preparation, you collapse under pressure. What you didn't take time to strengthen will eventually break you. But when you've prepared, pressure doesn't crush you, it confirms you. Preparation also tests your patience. It's not exciting to wait. It's not thrilling to rehearse. It's not glamorous to grind. But preparation is proof that you believe in what's coming. You can't be impatient and impactful at the same time. God often hides you in seasons of preparation because he knows exposure too early can destroy you. If the door opened before you were ready, the same opportunity that was meant to bless you could bury you. That's why he lets you practice in private to protect your purpose. When you prepare, you build confidence, not arrogance, but assurance. You stop second guessing yourself because you've done the work. You don't panic under pressure because you've trained for the moment. There's a quiet strength in people who prepare. They don't need to prove themselves. They simply perform. They don't get shaken by sudden challenges because they've already rehearsed how to respond. Preparation gives you peace because it eliminates panic. Look at the stories of every great innovator, athlete, preacher, or leader. The pattern is the same. Before every big moment, there's a season of preparation. Jesus spent 30 years preparing for 3 years of ministry. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading his people out. Esther prepared for months before stepping into her royal assignment. Preparation may delay the spotlight, but it guarantees the impact because the greater the calling, the deeper the preparation. Preparation positions you for impact because it makes you sensitive to timing. You learn not to rush doors open. You begin to trust the process instead of fighting it. You start to see delays not as denials, but as divine strategy. God uses preparation to synchronize you with his timing. So when the opportunity comes, you're not scrambling to get ready, you are ready. That's why you can't waste your preparation season complaining. Every day of discipline, every lesson learned, every challenge endured is sharpening you for something you can't see yet. Sometimes preparation means pruning. God will strip away things you thought you needed so you can travel light. He'll close certain doors, remove certain people, or change your plans, not because he's punishing you, but because he's positioning you. Preparation doesn't always feel good, but it's working for your good. He's not just preparing the place for you, he's preparing you for the place. Preparation is also a mindset. It's how you handle today in expectation of tomorrow. It's how you treat the small assignments that no one celebrates. People who prepare don't wait for the big stage to act excellent. They live in excellence daily. They don't need applause to be consistent because they understand that consistency creates credibility, and credibility gives your impact weight. When you prepare, you attract opportunities instead of chasing them. You don't have to beg for open doors. Your preparation becomes your introduction. The right people will recognize the readiness in you. Preparation speaks before you ever say a word. It announces, I'm not just here, I'm equipped. And when preparation meets opportunity, that's where impact happens. That's where moments turn into movements. Preparation positions you because it gives you authority. When you've been through the process, when you've practiced, studied, and grown, you don't speak from theory, you speak from truth. You carry the credibility that comes from experience. You don't just talk about faith, you've lived it. You don't just dream about success, you've built the foundation for it. Preparation gives your words weight and your actions influence. Don't despise your preparation season. Don't rush out of it just because it feels slow. What you're doing now in the unseen will echo loudly when your time comes. Every time you study, every time you show up, every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're building momentum that will one day manifest as impact. Preparation is not punishment, it's promotion in disguise. When you're prepared, you don't have to fear what's next. Next, you may not know the details, but you trust the design. You've done your part, and you're positioned for God to do his. That's the beauty of preparation. It aligns your effort with divine timing, so when the spotlight finally finds you, you won't be overwhelmed. You'll be ready. You won't just stand there surprised, you'll step there prepared. Because preparation doesn't just get you there, it keeps you there. Impact without preparation fades fast, but impact built on preparation lasts for generations. So keep preparing, keep sharpening, keep showing up. Because your preparation today is positioning you for impact tomorrow. And when that moment comes, you'll not only hit the spot, you'll change the atmosphere around it. Distraction is the enemy of direction. That simple statement carries the weight of why so many dreams never become reality, why so many people start strong but finish weak, and why lives full of potential often end up wandering without purpose. Distraction is not just noise, it's a strategy. It's the subtle, constant pull designed to keep your eyes off the path and your heart off the purpose. It doesn't always look evil. Sometimes it looks appealing, exciting, even productive. But the most dangerous distractions are not the ones that look wrong. They're the ones that look right, but lead you wrong. Distraction is the quiet thief that steals time, focus, and destiny. It doesn't need to destroy you. It just needs to divide you. Because a divided focus will always produce a diluted impact. You can't move powerfully in two directions at once. You can't pursue purpose and please people at the same time. You can't hit the spot if your aim keeps shifting. Distraction breaks alignment, and once alignment is broken, direction is lost. We live in a world that celebrates business but neglects focus. Everyone's doing something, but not everyone's going somewhere. You can be moving and still be lost. You can be active and still be unproductive. Distraction loves motion because motion feels like progress, but if it's not guided by direction, it's just chaos wearing purpose's clothes. The enemy of your purpose doesn't always attack your strength. Sometimes he attacks your sight. If he can keep you looking everywhere, he knows you'll hit nowhere. Think about how easily distractions come disguised. Sometimes they come as opportunities. Not every open door is divine. Some doors are distractions designed to drain your time and energy. Some relationships are distractions wrapped in affection. Some jobs, projects, or dreams are distractions dressed up as good ideas. The question isn't, is this thing good? The question is this thing mine? Because what's good for someone else might be a distraction for you. Direction requires focus, and focus requires discipline. You can't have direction without saying no to some things. Distraction thrives where discipline dies. It feeds on your inability to prioritize. If you don't decide what deserves your attention, everything will demand it. Every notification, every opinion, every comparison will pull you off course. You'll end up exhausted, not because you did too little, but because you tried to do too much. When you're distracted, even small detours can turn into long delays. It doesn't take a big wrong turn to get lost. It just takes a consistent lack of focus. The longer you entertain distractions, the further you drift from destiny. That's why clarity is priceless. It's your compass. When you know who you are and where you're headed, it's easier to recognize what doesn't belong. But when your vision is blurry, everything looks like a possibility. Look at Peter walking on water. As long as his eyes were on Jesus, he defied logic and gravity. But the moment he got distracted by the storm, he started to sink. The storm didn't gain power. His focus just shifted. That's how distraction works. It doesn't have to change your circumstances. It just has to change your concentration. The waves have always been there, but your power is in your gaze. Whatever holds your focus controls your future. Distraction is also emotional. Sometimes it's not your phone or your schedule. It's your fear, your insecurity, your need for validation. Those inner distractions are more dangerous than external ones because they live inside your mind. You can't block them like a call or mute them like a sound. You have to confront them with truth. You have to remind yourself, I don't need to be seen to be significant. I don't need to be everywhere to be effective. I just need to stay aligned with my assignment. When you understand your direction, you stop chasing attention. You realize not every battle deserves your response. Not every critic deserves your reply. Some of you are tired, not from your purpose, but from fighting distractions disguised as obligations. You're stretched thin trying to please people who don't even know your mission. You can't hit the spot while trying to keep everyone else happy. You've got to focus on what you were built for. Distraction is dangerous because it delays development. Every moment spent off course is a moment you could have been growing. It's not that you're not talented, it's that your talent keeps getting interrupted. You can't master your gift if you keep stopping to look around. Greatness requires sustained focus. The difference between people who succeed and people who struggle is rarely talent. It's usually attention. Winners lock in. They don't just start, they stay. One of the hardest truths to accept is that not every distraction looks like a temptation. Some look like responsibility. Sometimes you'll have to choose between what's urgent and what's important. Urgent things scream, important things whisper. The urgent says, do it now, but the important says, do it right. If you spend your life reacting to every urgent thing, you'll never create anything that lasts. Purpose requires you to slow down, to think, to prioritize, to guard your attention like treasure. Distraction will always show up when you're closest to breakthrough. It's not random, it's strategic. The moment you start gaining momentum, distractions appear to test your discipline. The higher you rise, the more distractions come disguised as rewards. People will call you, opportunities will come, and flattery will try to flatter you out of focus. But you can't afford to lose direction now. You've come too far to start sinking because of something shiny. Staying focused doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means protecting your mission. It means setting boundaries around your time, your thoughts, and your energy. It means being intentional about what you consume, who you listen to, and what you allow into your spirit. Because everything you entertain shapes your direction. Your focus determines your flow. When distraction loses its power over you, you move differently. You speak with purpose. You make decisions with confidence. You stop running after everything and start walking steadily towards something. You stop comparing your chapter to someone else's because you realize your story has its own timing. Distraction thrives on comparison, but direction thrives on conviction. When you know what God said about you, you don't need to copy what He told someone else. There will always be noise around you, but focus is the volume control. You don't have to silence the world, you just have to tune it out. You don't have to respond to everything that competes for your attention. You just have to remember why you started. Every time you feel distracted, go back to your why. That's your anchor. That's your map back to direction. When you master focus, you gain freedom. You stop being pulled by distractions because you're driven by destiny. You stop scattering your strength on meaningless things. You start to see progress where there used to be chaos. You start to feel peace where there used to be pressure. Because focus doesn't just lead you to success, it leads you to stability. So guard your focus like it's sacred, because it is. Don't let temporary noise pull you from eternal purpose. Don't let distractions delay your direction. Every time you choose focus over chaos, you reclaim your power. Every time you look straight ahead, you gain momentum. Because the truth is, simple distraction divides, but direction multiplies. And when your direction is clear, your destiny unfolds. So keep your eyes forward, your heart steady, and your spirit locked in, because distraction is the enemy of direction. And you were never built to wander. You were built to arrive. Momentum means nothing without aim. Those words may sound simple, but they carry a deep truth that separates movement from meaning. Momentum by itself can make you feel like you're accomplishing something. But if it's not directed, it's just motion without purpose. You can be running fast and still be running the wrong way. You can be busy all day and still not be productive. Momentum is powerful, but without aim, it becomes chaos in motion. Energy wasted on everything except what matters most. We live in a generation obsessed with speed. Everybody wants to go faster, get there sooner, and see results now. But speed without direction is just acceleration toward nowhere. You can't measure success by how quickly you're moving. You measure it by whether you're moving right. Because the truth is, momentum can't replace aim. You can push harder, try more, do extra, but if you're not clear about where you're going, all that energy will only exhaust you. Momentum without aim can make you look successful from a distance. You'll have activity, attention, maybe even applause. People will see movement and eschew mastery, but inside you'll feel the emptiness of going fast, but getting nowhere. Purpose doesn't live in speed, it lives in direction. Aim gives meaning to movement. It's what turns effort into impact and routine into results. Think of an arrow. It doesn't matter how hard you pull the string if you don't know what you're aiming at. The force behind the arrow is useless without the focus in front of it. The same goes for life. You can have drive, passion, and momentum, but without a clear aim, you'll miss the mark every time. Momentum gives you motion, aim gives you accuracy. And accuracy is what makes power effective. We've all had moments where we mistook activity for advancement. We kept busy, filled our calendars, chased goals that weren't even ours, and called it progress. But if the destination isn't aligned with your purpose, every step forward is actually a step off course. You can gain momentum in the wrong direction, and the faster you go, the harder becomes to stop and correct your path. That's why aim must always come before acceleration. You need clarity before speed. Aim begins with vision. You can't aim for what you can't see. Without vision, momentum becomes random. Vision gives your energy a target. It keeps you from scattering your strength on things that look urgent but aren't important. It reminds you of the why behind the what. When you know your aim, distractions lose their pull. You stop chasing every opportunity that crosses your path because you know what's meant for you won't require you to lose your aim to get it. Momentum is emotional, it feeds off excitement, but aim is intentional, it feeds off conviction. Excitement fades, but conviction anchors you. You can be motivated for a season, but without aim, that motivation will wear out. People who move with momentum but no aim eventually burn out. They confuse adrenaline with anointing. They chase the high of movement instead of the fulfillment of purpose. But when you move with aim, even slow progress feels powerful because you know every step is taking you somewhere real. Consider a river. It's full of momentum, rushing and flowing. But when that flow is guided through a channel, it produces energy. It becomes hydroelectric power. Without direction, that same water would just spread and spill, creating chaos instead of change. The difference isn't in the force, it's in the focus. That's what aim does. It channels your momentum into something meaningful. It takes wild energy and turns it into targeted power. Some people get addicted to momentum because it feels like progress. They keep saying yes to everything, taking on every opportunity, every project, every invitation. But sometimes the greatest discipline you can practice is the power to pause. You need moments to step back and ask, am I moving or am I being moved? Because momentum without reflection leads to misdirection. You might end up achieving things that don't align with your purpose, building something that looks good but doesn't feel right. Aim is not just about having goals, it's about having God's goals. It's about making sure your direction aligns with divine purpose, not just personal ambition. You can create momentum through effort, but true aim comes from guidance. That's why prayer, wisdom, and stillness matter. You can't aim well if your mind is noisy. Sometimes God will slow your momentum so He can sharpen your aim. It's not a setback, it's a setup for accuracy. He knows power without aim can do more harm than good. Momentum without aim also creates instability. You start strong but struggle to sustain it. You chase feelings instead of focus. You depend on momentum to carry you, but momentum runs out. When the emotion fades, aim gives you endurance. It gives your effort a reason to keep going when excitement disappears. Momentum might get you started, but aim keeps you steady. People with aim don't waste energy. They move with precision. They don't jump at every opportunity because they understand that every yes is a no to something else. They protect their energy, their time, their vision. They understand that not all movement is progress and not all progress is purpose. When you have aim, you don't have to rush. You can move intentionally because you know direction matters more than speed. Momentum is powerful, but without aim, it becomes noise instead of music. It's like an instrument being played without rhythm. There's energy, but no harmony. Aim gives rhythm to your movement. It aligns your pace with your purpose. It helps you know when to accelerate and when to rest, when to press forward and when to pause. That balance is what sustains impact over time. Aim requires honesty. It forces you to confront where you are, not where you wish you were. It asks you to evaluate your efforts, your motives, your destination. Sometimes that means admitting that your current momentum is taking you somewhere you don't belong. And that's okay. Stopping isn't failure, it's wisdom. You can't redirect momentum. You're afraid to interrupt. When you finally align your aim with your movement, everything changes. Your actions start to feel purposeful. Your energy feels focused. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve your calling, and you discover that progress isn't about how fast you move, but how true your direction is. Aim transforms momentum from motion into mastery. So before you chase momentum, find your aim. Before you ask for acceleration, ask for alignment. Don't just move intentionally, because momentum is like fire. It can warm or it can burn. Depending on where you direct it, the same energy that can build can also destroy if it's not aimed with purpose. Every time you focus your aim, you increase your impact. Every time you refine your direction, your movement becomes meaningful. You don't have to be everywhere. You just have to be effective where you are. So take your momentum, take your passion, take your drive and aim it. Because when momentum meets aim, power meets purpose. And that's when you stop just moving. You start hitting the spot. When you hit the spot, purpose produces overflow. That's the moment when everything you've been working toward, praying for, and believing in begins to align. It's not just about reaching a goal or achieving success. It's about stepping into the flow of purpose where your effort meets divine timing. When you hit the spot, things start to move differently. The same actions that once felt heavy start to feel natural. The same doors that once stayed shut begin to open on their own. Hitting the spot means you found the place where your gift, your growth, and God's grace intersect. And when that happens, overflow becomes inevitable. Overflow doesn't begin with luck. It begins with alignment. You can't force overflow. It's a result of being in the right position. When you're aligned with purpose, what flows through you will always be greater than what's around you. That's why chasing success feels different from walking in purpose. Success can be exhausting, but purpose is sustaining. Success depends on results, but purpose depends on obedience. When you're driven by purpose, you're not just trying to make something happen. You're becoming what was meant to happen. And when that transformation takes place, overflow naturally follows. When purpose produces overflow, it's not only for you, it's through you. God never gives overflow just so you can contain it. He gives it so you can release it. You become a vessel. You become a channel. The blessing that hits your life is designed to flow into someone else's. That's how purpose works. It multiplies. It never stops at you. It spreads through you. When you hit the spot, your influence grows not because you're striving for it, because what's inside you is too big to stay contained. Purpose doesn't seek platforms. It creates impact at platforms. can't contain. Hitting the spot doesn't mean everything becomes easy, but it does mean everything becomes clear. The struggle doesn't disappear, but now it makes sense. You begin to understand why you had to go through certain seasons, why doors closed, why relationships ended, why prayers seemed unanswered. You see that every delay was development, every disappointment was direction. When purpose starts producing overflow, hindsight turns into gratitude because you realize the pressure was preparing you for this moment. Overflow isn't about abundance alone. It's about alignment and assignment. You can have abundance and still be empty if it's not connected to purpose. Many people chase overflow thinking it means more money, more attention, or more recognition. But real overflow is internal before it's external. It's peace that surpasses understanding. It's joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's confidence that remains when everything around you shakes. When your soul is overflowing, your circumstances can't control you. You live from fullness, not from fear. Think about it like this. A river doesn't decide to overflow. It just keeps flowing in its course until it reaches capacity. The overflow isn't an accident, it's a result of consistent flow. The same applies to you. When you stay faithful to your purpose, keep showing up, keep growing, keep serving, you'll eventually hit that spot where all your sowing turns into reaping. The overflow is not random. It's a reward for consistency. But before overflow comes stewardship. God doesn't send overflow where there's no structure to contain it. You can't pray for more if you're not managing what you already have. The discipline to handle little is what prepares you for much. Purpose produces overflow, but preparation preserves it. When you hit the spot, you have to be ready not just to receive the overflow, but to sustain it. Because overflow without wisdom turns blessing into burden. When you hit the spot, there's a shift in how you move. You stop chasing validation because you know you're walking in vocation. You stop forcing opportunities because opportunities start finding you. You stop trying to make noise because your results start speaking louder than your words. That's the power of alignment. When your purpose is pure, your progress becomes inevitable. You don't have to push as hard because you've positioned yourself where things flow freely. Sometimes hitting the spot means leaving comfort zones. It means walking away from what's familiar to step into what's fruitful. You can't stay where you were and expect overflow to meet you there. Overflow is connected to obedience. It's waiting in the place God told you to go, not the place you wish to stay. That's why some people never see overflow. They're still watering old ground when God has already called them to new soul. You've got to move where purpose leads, even if it's uncomfortable. When purpose produces overflow, you start to notice that your effort carries more weight. A single word you speak starts to inspire others. A simple act of service begins to open doors. The same seed that once seemed small begins to produce fruit in multiple directions. That's what overflow looks like. It's exponential, not incremental. You don't just grow, everything connected to you grows. Your family feels it. Your environment feels it. Your atmosphere changes because you've hit the spot where your life moves from survival to significance. Hitting the spot doesn't mean perfection. It means precision. You don't have to be flawless. You just have to be focused. Overflow doesn't flow through the perfect. It flows through the prepared. It flows through those who've learned to stay rooted in purpose, even when the process was painful, because pain often precedes overflow. The crushing of the olive releases the oil. The breaking of the ground produces the harvest. The pressure that once felt unbearable was actually positioning you to pour. When you hit the spot, Your perspective shifts from I have to I get to. You begin to see purpose not as duty, but as destiny. You realize that your gifts are not random, they're intentional. You stop minimizing your voice, your vision, your value, because you understand they were designed to serve a bigger plan. Overflow gives you confidence without arrogance. It grounds you in gratitude. You become thankful not just for what you have, but for who you've become. The beauty of overflow is that it keeps flowing. You don't run out because it's not your power fueling it, it's purpose. And purpose doesn't dry up. It's not seasonal. It's sustainable. When you're living in alignment with your calling, even when resources seem limited, results keep showing up. Doors keep opening, favor keeps following, strength keeps refilling. That's the miracle of purpose-driven overflow. It's endless because its source is eternal. So when you hit the spot, don't hold back. Don't apologize for your flow. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Overflow isn't arrogance, it's evidence. It's proof that when purpose is pursued with precision, heaven responds. It's proof that what's meant for you can't be denied, delayed, or destroyed. When you hit that divine spot, everything changes, not because you tried harder, because you finally aligned deeper. When purpose produces overflow, your life becomes a testament that what God starts, He sustains. Your impact outlives your effort. Your name carries weight not because of fame, but because of faithfulness. And the more you pour, the more He fills. That's the rhythm of overflow. It never ends. So keep walking in purpose. Keep aiming for alignment. And keep striking with precision. Because when you hit the spot, purpose doesn't just bless you, it overflows through you, touching everything and everyone connected to your destiny. Let me close this thing out the way it deserves to end. Strong, full, and focused. You see, we've been talking about what it means to hit the spot, not just to move, not just to try, not just to swing, but to connect. Because life is not about motion, it's about meaning. It's not about how fast you run, it's about whether you're running in the right direction. It's not about how much you do, it's about whether what you do matters. We learned that precision unlocks power, that when you become intentional about your aim, your energy becomes effective. You stop scattering your strength and start striking with purpose. Then we discovered that preparation positions you for impact, that greatness doesn't show up unannounced. It's built in the background, in the quiet, in the discipline of the unseen. We saw that distraction is the enemy of direction. You can't hit the target if you keep looking everywhere else. Focus is the difference between being busy and being effective. The devil doesn't have to destroy you, he just has to distract you. Because a distracted person can't stay aligned long enough to make a difference. And then we learned that momentum means nothing without aim. You can run fast in the wrong direction and still end up lost. Don't let motion make you think you're making progress. Aim gives your movement meaning. It's what turns energy into impact. Finally, we found that when you finally do hit the spot, purpose produces overflow. That's when your life begins to pour. That's when your gifts bless more than just you. That's when what's in you begins to touch what's around you. Because when you're in position, when you're precise, when you're prepared, when you're focused, overflow is inevitable. So hear me tonight. This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about making sure that everything you do, everything you dream, everything you build is aimed at the right target. Because when your aim is right, your life is right. When your focus fixed, your future flows. You don't have to chase what's already assigned to you. You just have to get in the right position. Stop comparing your process to someone else's. Stop measuring your worth by speed. The arrow doesn't envy the bow, it trusts the pull. Sometimes the pressure is just preparation. Sometimes the stretch is setting you up to fly farther. So if you're in a season where it feels tight, if it feels like you're being pulled back, don't panic. That's just your preparation for release. God is getting ready to launch you. But when he does, make sure you know where you're aiming, because power without purpose can wound, but power with purpose changes the world. Every great breakthrough starts with a moment of focus. Every destiny shifts when someone decides, I will not miss this time. So lift your head, steady your heart, fix your aim, and get ready to release. Because this is your season to hit the spot. And when you hit it, when you finally connect, everything that's been stored up, everything that's been building, everything that's been promised will begin to flow. Doors will open, favor will follow, purpose will produce overflow. So don't stop swinging. Don't stop believing. Don't stop aiming. You're closer than you think, stronger than you know, and more prepared than you realize. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your target. Now go hit the spot.